Hello everyone and good morning to you. Good to have you here, Paul Trani. Gonna do some hand lettering. I don't know, what will I need for that? Maybe some hand tools. Got a water pen right here, which you could hardly see. And yeah, my Apple Pencil. So I'll be using Fresco. Just wanna wish you a warm welcome. How's everybody doing today? Austin, Jesse, Justin, Duncan. I also want to know how everybody's doing personally in your personal lives. Has that rash cleared up? I'm just kind of curious. I'm kidding, of course. But I just want to know how you're doing. I just want to check in with you as a community. Know that we appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. So yeah, that's all I got for you. You like my shirt? It's magic. So good to have you here, Aria and Deanna. If you're new here as well, would love to hear from you. Would be fantastic. So yeah, let's dive into this. It's going to be a fun day. Big thank you to Jesus Ramirez doing the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, and T. White. That's what I call him, Terry White. Did a little Creative Cloud. Yeah. So let's... Yeah, so my shirt is green. It's a green shirt, but I just think it makes a cool effect. This is from an XOXO conference in Seattle. So, is that right? Seattle. I'm pretty sure it's Seattle. It might be Portland. All right. All right, everybody, let's dive into this. So, again, just to quickly review the schedule as I take a drink of my coffee right here that is also partially invisible. Ha ha ha, Jesse with the puns. So again, Terry White kicked off this new Getting Started with Creative Cloud this morning, which was pretty cool. I was learning stuff from him. It's good to watch these just because you're like, hey, you know, do I know what everybody else knows? Like, how much do I know? Which is why like top 10 lists are always good. And Jesus did a little blending with faces. He's weirding me out in the best way. You have me for 2 hours. We're going to do some hand lettering. That's why I have my iPad here, as well as my Apple Pencil. And then we're going to actually jump into Illustrator, Photoshop, and After Effects. So it's a full day. This is like a lot of Creative Cloud happening today. XD Daily Creative Challenge. Then we have HP, I'll call him, Howard Pinsky, up next as well. All right. Terry White is a great guy. Fantastic. Shall we do this? I finally got my coffee dialed in. That's what everybody's dealing with. So basically Denver's on, I don't know, at home, what is it? At home orders. It's not lockdown really, because you can still go outside and get exercise. That was important to me. Anyways, let's kind of switch over. Basically, everybody's dialing in their coffee because like none of the coffee shops are open. It's like, oh, I gotta make this myself? Is that even possible? All right. So you can see a couple things that I'm working on. Some things that you might remember from yesterday if you were joining me yesterday. Some things that we're gonna work on today. But you can just kind of see what we're doing with hand lettering and lettering in general. And we're gonna use a number of techniques in here, just so you know. In fact, let's just go right there. We can go through each one of these, right? We'll do something kind of like this. Storms make trees take deeper roots. So again, hand lettering. This is what we made yesterday as well. Surreality, which is kind of a fun word. And that was all done in Fresco. I kind of turn off those layers. You can see some of the stuff I composited actually in Photoshop. So you have these nice colors. And then I started adding some splats and different things. And then of course our surreality right there. So you get the idea. You guys, Michelle's always making her own coffee. Oh, and cappuccino, you fancy pants. You're fancy, aren't you? I'm into it. So then we kind of arrived at this, which was super cool. So yeah, I'd kill somebody for a proper latte right now. Easy there, but I agree, because I'm like, man, some baristas are like magical. So this is kind of where we ended up yet, but I actually did some work outside of the stream. So let's kind of take a step back even further, just so you can kind of see what we did. Again, this was hand lettering. This is what we worked on. Broke it down into its the fundamentals. Really, it's all just about making your text legible. I kind of dived into some different phrases, and then our actions build our world. is kind of how this arrived, right? So we got this. What did I do? I made some brushes, and I can break down how to do this, but I already did this yesterday. So I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit too much. This is kind of quite literally hand lettering in here. And if I just select a brush and do a what, W, what? Whoop. Right, we could have a lot of fun with it, as you can see. Right, pretty cool. All right, Arturo. Yeah, so this handwork was actually really fun. I can dive into this a little bit more. I kind of want to talk about some of the things that I did off of the stream, but just to jump in and keep this really short. This is the brush I made. It's really about taking those graphics, dropping them into your brushes panel to make a new brush. And these are art brushes. Click OK. What do we want to do? We want to stretch between guides. And I'm saying, hey, you know what? Don't distort the hands. Just stretch out the arm. So that's what's happening in this case, right? We could do a tint. So I'm going to do a tint. I'm going to show you what that means. Click OK. Right, now we have this new brush right down here that I just made, okay? So, N for pencil, clicking on that brush, there's my new brush that I just made. So that's how you would do it. I'm gonna go in here and change this to red, clicking OK. See how it's actually tinted this red. So this actually, there's a lot of flexibility that you can do in here, and that comes from tinting that particular stroke. So that's what's happening. That brush. Easy enough. Would love to make this into a font. Yeah, it would be totally interesting. Yeah. Would love to make this into a font if you are interesting. I'm not interesting, but it would be interesting to make this into a font. Okay, super easy to do, and this is really monochromatic. I started playing with some of the other colors, by the way, so let's just kind of go into one of these that actually has colors. So this one in this case, check it out. Boop, boop, boop. Caught red-handed, we have this brush. If we go in here, this does tints and shades, right? So we go beyond tints, and here we have tints and shades, and that's why the hand is turning red, okay? So I click OK, pick some of these other colors, right? Just kind of bouncing around, you can see how it changes, right? So we have a lot of control when it comes to these brushes. We also have some other ones that I made. Let's I even made newer ones, by the way. So there's these that are full color. So many brushes. This probably doesn't have any setting, right? So this has none, but keep in mind, this is a full color brush. Let's do hue shift, key color is just that blue. Let's do apply to strokes. So now it's actually shifting those colors based on what I had selected. So the blue is the default because that's the color I picked. And then if I start changing that color, it starts shifting those hues. And that's what happens there. All right. Can Fresco import custom brushes? Yes, but not these ones. And this is the power of Illustrator. But since you brought up Fresco, I say we shift gears and jump into Fresco. You could never have too many brushes. That's exactly right. Anthony Jackson said it correct. You can never have too many brushes or too many fonts. But you know what? You're going to have 1,000 brushes. You're going to have 1,000 fonts. You're going to have just your top 5 that you use all the time. You want them all. You're only going to use 5. It's kind of like your closet. Really? You're only wearing 3 shirts out of your closet, right? The rest is just there, just in case. So yeah, thank you, Michelle. You really like this brush. So you can see how this was made. Boom, here we are, right? Wash your hands, right? These are all made up of strokes. So if we decide we want to change this, we can easily change this, bop, 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 right? Like that. One thing I didn't get into yesterday, again, I'm just changing the length of these hands because these are all brushes, right? These are really easy to work with. I could hit N for pencil and I can redraw this line, whoop, like that. I should be able to, whoop, like that. Zoop. You get the idea, right? Cool. Oh, Sujan loves your work from Bangladesh. I appreciate you being here as well. It's awesome. I know we're all kind of cooped up, to be honest. Let me know how you're doing. I'm here for you as much as I can be, at least online, right? So here we have wash your hands. So this works out pretty well, by the way. So if I select these, it's actually, if I select this particular stroke, it'll show me which brush I'm using right over here. Right? So if I double click on it, we can see I'm basically using tints and shades, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a bunch of different colored hands, different skin tones, you know, that whole thing, of course. But I didn't want to make 50 different hands individually. Guess what? I could just shift this tint at any time. That's set to tints and shades. Ba, 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 ba. You can see that hand turning whatever color I want. So hopefully you can see that. Hopefully you're catching a vision for this, yeah? So just had stay at home from the government. So Anita, where do you live? So we got a stay at home order basically here in Denver County in the US. It's largely left up to the states, and the states are kind of leaving it up to the counties, but it kind of is a top down sort of situation. And I nailed it. I guessed it correctly. I knew it was going to happen today. I guessed it last week. I said, watch, they're going to announce it on Monday. It's going to happen on Tuesday. That's how Denver County is. So anyways, Alexander's in the house. Good to see ya. All right, so we have this squared away. This looks pretty cool, but you're not really washing, are you? Right? Well, let's add some washing elements. So here, what I can actually make is just a simple bubble. So that's all I did. Made this bubble. Right, here's this fun little bubble that I made. Drop it into the symbol library, and we can call this bubble. Just like that. Oh, I already have bubble 2. I already have one bubble. Right, I've already done this once. Because again, I already made the final. But now, since this is a symbol, I can have some fun with this. I can come over here and say, hey, you know what? Let's put this on the very top, by the way. I'm going to use the symbol sprayer tool, right? Okay, so Mia, you got a stay-at-home order in Michigan starting at midnight last night. I'm so thankful these are coming through. To be honest with you, like, you should have been doing this all along. Like, you shouldn't wait for the government to tell you what to do to keep you healthy, to be honest, right? You're kind of responsible for your own health, so I've actually basically been quarantined for the past week as much as possible, by the way. Just been running errands to pick up just supplies, you know. Things that I'll never eat, like beans and rice. All right, so symbol sprayer tool, that's what I'm picking, right? I select this symbol, which is right over here, our symbol that we just made, bubble 2. Now I can go right here and start spraying those bubbles like so, right? So that's what I have. Spray some bubbles. Guess what? We want to change this to some other things. Like we want to scrunch them together, and we also want to change the size. Florida's still wilding. Florida's crazy. What happened? What's up with Florida? Can anybody tell me? So scrunching it up. Symbol sizer tool. I'll resize some of these. That's a little large. Maybe I'll press once. I'll hold down the option key. That's going to reverse whatever you're dealing with. But there I can just kind of size those down too, and now we have those nice bubbles. But now I can go ahead and have some fun with this. Use that symbol sprayer tool all over this. Bubbles everywhere. You do have to add your own sound effects. Bubble, bubble, bubbles, bubbles, bubbles everywhere, right? Resizing, scrunching up where you need to. And by the way, if you're curious as to the settings for these, just double click on the tool. If you're wondering about the brush size, yeah, we could change that actually. It'll say, you actually should be able to change it with the option key and clicking and holding down. But either way, here's the different properties. Holding down the option key to push symbol instances away from the cursor to the cursor. This is how I was doing this. Hold down the option key again, blah, 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 blah. So you can really get into all that stuff. But that's why you guys are hanging out with me, so I can show you some of this stuff and answer any questions you might have. Bubblecano. Ooh, old school. Bubblecano. Jesse D. I love it. That's funny. Right. There you have it. Wash your hands, people. Your filthy hands. I don't know where they've been and I gotta shake them? Really? That's crazy. That's crazy talk. All right, so again, super cool. Off to the side, just so you know, I would break the bubbles down into different layers because sometimes I wanted the hands on top, sometimes I want the bubbles on top, right? So let's just kind of turn on some of those layers. Oh, turn off some of the others. Ba-ba-ba-ba, like that. And now you have this nice depth right here, for instance, some different things, okay? Why, Alberto? You still got people spring breaking in, well, all right. You know? Like this hand right here. This is the Florida hand. I'm kidding. It's green. What's up? It's very not normal. I'm kidding. Let's change it to something a little more normal. I apologize. That's mean. But people are running around shaking hands and who knows what. Let's get it to more of a different color. There we go. Let's do that. Cool. All right, done and done. Let's move on. So Catherine, you have to sign your own permission slip to go shopping or work. Okay, got it. I think Italy was doing that as well, you know, and Italy went to extreme measures and, you know, it's tough, you know, this could happen to us, but, again, that's why we're indoors, we're learning, and we're gonna dive into this next phrase. So here's my next phrase, just so you know. So let's switch gears, boom. Kind of had these different phrases yesterday, and the one I'm going to work on today for hand lettering is going to be this one right here. Zoop. Storms make trees take deeper roots, right? Storms make trees take deeper roots. So profound. That's the whole idea. Yeah, Carol, I have a bunch of those hands, by the way. Those hands are easy to make. I did the fist yesterday, and then the open hand, it's on both, the hand's made on both sides. But storms make trees take deeper roots. So this is what I'll typically do. I'll take this, copy it. Let's just kind of go over here, paste it. I'll usually line this up so I can actually kind of like start to just kind of roughly outline the text, right? I could do this. I could freeform it, or I can come in here and say, hey, you know what? Here's my text that I'm going to use, right? So I'm going to use this text. Zoop. And I have guidelines in the background. I know everybody hates like, oh, guides. I don't need your guides. I'm a designer. I don't need your rules. That's what most designers think. Wouldn't you agree, Val? Most designers are like, screw that. I'm a designer. I don't need your template. What do you think who do you think you are? Trust me, this is gonna save you so much headache later on, right? Okay, so you can use just a typical like nondescript font. Not that this doesn't have character, but I can just use a font as a guide. So this is what I have. What did I do here? I kind of already have an idea of what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna do something awesome is what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be awesome. That's what's gonna happen. So right in here, if I go to the properties panel, what font am I using? We'll take a look. Oh, or I can even actually do it right up here at the top. Everybody will be easier to see. We have what's known as a variable concept font. So it's Acumen, variable concept font. Eric Sue's a rebel. He follows his own dang rules. Eric, you and I are one and the same. Into it. Because I'm very much, I'm going to follow my own dang rules. And I'm like, I don't cuss and I like to go to bed. My own, it's just like, my rules are always like, get enough sleep. So here, this is where I can kind of come in and say, hey, you know, what type of font do I kind of want to dial in? Just to use as a guide. Do I want to adjust the weight? Do I want to space it out more? Right? I have a lot of control over this just to create my initial guide. So I might do something like that. I'm going to really have fun with that trees word. So that's what I would do. Take that, have that set up. I can turn this off. I can export this out, and I export this out as a ping file and just put this on my iPad because it's going to be in Fresco. Let's move on. By the way, cancel. Yeah, why not? Let's just replace it. Let's replace it. Let's see. It's I'm going to screw up this time, in an hour and 10 minutes, we're going to be doing challenge reviews. So imagine that. Messed that up yesterday. I went 30 minutes early. What was I thinking? Too many things on our mind. That's a very minor thing in the grand scheme of things. Okay, so that's the thing. I don't think I've ever used a template, but I know I don't like this one. You're exactly right. This is horrible, but that's the worse my template is, the better you'll feel about your art. How about that? Sorry. Feeling punchy, but this is just a guide. The guide is meant to not have personality. That's it, right? But again, you don't have to do this. It's fine. Let's switch over here to my, and by the way, I can sync this really fast. Boop. Get this out of the way. See how this one ended up, by the way? I just did a little work in Photoshop to kind of round that out. And another reason we're doing this is because it's 36 days of type, right? So you can see right in here, we can kind of jump down to the calendar and see right in here, it is the 24th of March. We're at you, because it is all about you today. All right. So much to do. I gotta get into this. I gotta hurry. iPad. Boom. That's fine. Let's just shift gears. Where are you, iPad? Give me some love, iPad. Are you not plugged in, iPad? You silly thing, you. Okay, there it is. It is back. Fresco. Got it right here. Boom. Importing some type, whatever type that might be, just using that as a guide. Let's just start playing with this text right here. So I can come in and be really literal with some of this. Let's change the color to black, changing this. Need more room. I need more room over here. There we go. Now I can see your beautiful faces. Might I add, Lynn, your hair is looking really good today. I just wanted to throw that out there. Number of basic brushes that we could work with, right? We have variable brushes. That's currently not the style that I have going on, but this is a variable brush. Obviously, you can see the variance in the stroke, right? I can pick a hard round. I have a number of brushes that I could use in here. Marker. I have marker ones. Lettering. Small chisel will be fun to work with, by the way. So let's just take this down. Here's that chisel right here. So just to note, the one thing you can't change is the shape of the brush. That's what you're picking. So you're pulling a brush out of your, wherever your brushes are. You can't change those bristles. You can only change how you use them. So when you take a look at it, and when you look down here at the sort of the size or the flow, just be mindful of that, because I can go in and change these brush settings. Hopefully you can see that down there. I just can't change the shape of the brush. So if you don't like that angle, don't pick that brush, right? If I did want to go with it, right, we could see how extreme that chisel is. But it can make for some very nice lettering. We're going to go through this really fast. Let's go. Notice how, just based on the angle, kind of rotate this. Like that. I'm going to move through this pretty fast. This M, I'm going to do a little bit different. I'm going to rotate my hand a little bit. There we are. Storms, right? You get the idea. Super loose, super fast. Probably went a little fast. Funny. All right, let's undo that. The key, so I have a couple key tips when it comes to like hand lettering. By the way, kind of what I'm doing now is actually cursive. Hand lettering is all about sort of embellishing a letter, right? So then there's actual like calligraphy, which is all about just writing text. So this is technically more calligraphy if you're doing something like this, right? K-E with the chisel brush. Let's get into trees because this is the one I wanted to work on, right? Let's take a variable brush, right? We can press down, press lighter, right? We can go out and we can make these letters look like trees. Just that variance in stroke, right? We'll get to embellishing this in a second, but we'll have some fun with this. Pressing harder, because I'm thinking I want it to have that thick base. So press harder down there, and it can kind of maybe taper out. Let's undo that a little bit. Zoop. Pressing harder. And again, I just have this text as a guide. This one down at the bottom is going to be thicker. All right, how you guys doing? You guys are talking amongst yourself. Totally fine. Totally cool, right? I'm going to try to impress you because really I'm going to press lighter because those are supposed to be the branches at the top. And then it's supposed to be heavier down on that end. Right. Okay, let's have some fun embellishing this by adding a new layer and diving into some other things we can do. In fact, you know what? I'm going to turn off those lines and take a look at what we can do with some of these effect brushes. All right, I'm going to have... Good morning, everyone. Good to see you out there. Hello, Felipa. You guys are looking fantastic. All your little icons and avatars are looking so good today. Everybody's hair's in place, looking perfect. Into it. All right, and if you're just joining me, we're doing some hand lettering in Fresco. If you're joining me on some other platform, first of all, how did you get there? And come on over to behance.net/live. All right. So let's go in here. Effect brushes, right? We have a number of things we could do. So much fun that we can mess with. We have foliage that I can play with. And yeah, guess what? Looks like foliage. Yeah. So we can come in here and add some kind of like branches in here. Obviously leaves. You get the idea. I'm going to review a number of these. There's one. Let's add another layer. Let's turn off that one. You can tell me which one you like. We have foliage number 2. Has a little more detail if you ask me, because you can actually see the veins of the leaves. But a lot of times with these brushes, like when I open them up, they're really large. So I need to kind of scale them down. Still a little large. Right? Put some right there. Little right there. Whoop. Kind of like that. I like it like that. Right? You get the idea. Leaf it to pot. Jesse D with the puns. Boy, if this was like a pun competition, you'd totally be crushing it, and I would be rooting for you. Get it? All right. Let's go into Leafy Line. Leafy Line has, again, these very large properties, scaling it down just to give you an idea of what it looks like right down there. It's gorgeous. Tell me this isn't gorgeous. Look at this leafy line. I think it's more detailed and like a little more sparse, but I'm absolutely loving this. All right. You get the idea. New layer. Turn off that one. Last one I'm going to do, leafy line number 2. As you can see right there. Those look awfully similar. All right, any more? Why no color? Ah, why no color yet, my friend? Into it. We're on the same page. Don't worry. I'm going to introduce some color to this. Why no color? It's begging for it. I get it, right? But again, here's the base. Let's turn that off. I was just giving you some examples of each one of these. Leafy line 2, leafy line 1, which is awesome. We have foliage 2, foliage 1. All right. Let's try foliage 1. Jumping in, picking a lovely green, changing this back, and just adding a little bit to it, like so. Okay, you ready for this? You ready for this? This is what I would do in this case. So this is like pro tip, right? So I could come in and add some green. Okay. I would add some of this green, and I would actually put some in the background. So I'd take this, I'd put it in the background. So it just creates that depth. So already that looks pretty good. We'll create a new layer, right? Well, we can add more. I'll make this a little bit brighter, but I'm going to do you one better as well, by the way, because my problem with this is I'm painting with, there's now 3 colors. There's nothing exciting about this. I mean, it kind of gives me what I need, but I can add more depth here in a second, even by mixing some of these. But what you can always do is come in and, let me do this really fast, new version, duplicate layer, duplicate layer, boom, bring that up, bring this up, take that, merge down, turn that off, and I'll start grouping a lot of these. So I'll take this one, and I'll make it a group, oh shoot, by dropping one layer onto the next. Now when I drop this layer onto this next one, it's actually going to put it at the top, just like that, okay? So if I turn that off, that's all one element, right, that I can turn on and off, which is typically super nice, right? Turning that off, and then I have this version right here. For this version, this is actually all one layer. So in fact, I'm going to just duplicate this one more time because I'm worried I'm going to mess it up. I'll go in, I'll lock transparency. Since transparency is locked, I can just paint right where there's black, right? So that's all I'm adding, just painting like right where there's black, where there are pixels, right? So this one's definitely going to look more sparse, but I'm not like, you know, the text isn't really getting that lost. So I don't know. This is working out okay. I need to move on. So this is also another idea that I had. So let's even take this one. We will duplicate it once more, right? Because I'm just kind of creating my backup just in case. Let's turn that off. Let's go into watercolor, right? So let's work with this watercolor wash soft. Why not? And we'll just keep that at green, right? Oh, whoa, too much water. Take the water flow down. But this is a way to kind of add, and again, I was just going to try it out, to blend some of that color. If you want to blend any sort of color, use a watercolor brush. And what you can even do is you can just add water, right? So there's nothing but water added to this, and there's no color. So watch how it bleeds. Look, it's like bleeding those colors like one into the next, right? And just gives it an entirely different look. So anyways, let's move on, shall we? More I could do here. I could probably add branches and a number of things. Let's unlock transparency. You know, jump in here, grab a dry media brush, Conti crayon's fine, right? And, you know, add some branches in there if I want to, but I need to move on. Let's move on. I'm done with this. It's not even that cool. Guys, come on, Val. Call me out on this. This is looking messy. It's actually not bad, but it's not that great either, okay? So let's take this chaos. Like, what were you even doing? Yeah, we got cooler stuff in there. We got this cool stuff. We got so many things going on. I typically was just going to drop those all one onto the next, right? Let's just nest that away and move on from this concept, right? Let's turn on this and off that one, right? So again, this is where I've actually went through and I've outlined all the text. I've actually hand lettered this. You guys saw me do this earlier, by the way. To be honest with you, I can't remember what brush I used, and I apologize. It wasn't a marker brush. I just used a basic like pen brush. It was like super basic. It wasn't the hard round. It was just a really basic brush, and I apologize. Oh, maybe it's in favorites. Oh, point pen. Yeah, that's all I used. So also what I did, you asked me my favorite brushes, whatever. I was talking about favorite brushes. I have them all like bookmarked or favorited right in here. So I was using the point pen to make this happen, right? So again, super simple to do that, to jump in and then just start outlining. Because I want this to look natural, right? Because it's all about storms and you becoming stronger from it, huh? You get the idea. How are we doing on time? It is 11:06. We have 54 minutes. Let's make sure that's right. It should be 53 minutes. Tell our challenge review deadline. Just reminding you of that. Zoop. There we go. Okay, cool. Done. 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 Okay, so sorry I was not. You're not in trouble. I'm just saying, Val, if something starts looking horrible, you tell me. So from artist to respected artist, you could be like, hey, that's not working. So anyways, I know it wasn't. It got a little messy. This is an important thing because basically it's a lot of times it's like about knowing when to stop. And since I was showing you guys like lots of different brushes, I know which ones were going to work and which ones weren't. So yeah, I think I did it more. I made it messy just to show you some tips and tricks. Let's take this for instance. So here we have, I did everything on one layer, right? If you could remember to do each word on a separate layer, that's great. It's all about what you're trying to do. I was just trying to outline this content, right? So right in here, let's take this. Storms, zoop, grab it, move it. This is what makes it easy. Storms make it easy. Easier to grow roots. How is she going to grow roots? You haven't been through any storms, huh? Oh, done. Deselect. Zoop. Transform this bad boy. We'll do something like that. That's what I'm going for. Actually, you know what? Let's see this crazy mess. It's fine. I'm looking. Zoop. Move that over. There we are. Talk amongst yourselves. Who's been talking to themselves more lately? Yeah, no, actually, Felipa, that is working. You're funny. I did this on purpose because I think it's awesome. Okay? I was fully aware that I put on a green shirt this morning. Trust me. And hope you like it. I think it's kind of fun. All right, so we're doing the layout part of this. We have the hand lettering done, and then I'll dive into, obviously, transforming this content like so. All using good old Fresco, like that. Creating a type lockup, that's what this is called, right? That's all done. Just gotta move that over like so. We could give this actually a little bit more space, right? Because based on what we know now, we can consider adding some fun effects brushes. Leafy line. All right. You get the idea. Take this down a little bit more. Bear with me. Bear with me. There we go. Duplicating this. And I dive into a basic brush, hard round opacity, changing this to the green I was using earlier, and locking that transparency. Now I can color these that I've already made, right? So right in here, just using this hard round opacity. Let's check. Let's do soft round, actually. Maybe take that down a little bit. But now I can kind of color some of this in the way I want. Right, kind of like that, right? See how it's just nice and soft. Just adding a splash of color, because in some cases, I wanted them to, of course, be green, and in some cases, I want them black, right? So it actually looks better when you're on top of that E like so. All right. All right, fantastic. Just checking up on things and checking up on you. Robzilla in the house saying what's up. What's up, Robzilla? Rob knows a little Fresco. We're doing a little hand lettering, obviously. You can see that I used Leafy Line 2, I think. Again, just going really soft with the Apple Pencil. You can see I could obviously control that. It looks better when it's on the letter like that. And keep in mind, like I said, you can switch to a watercolor brush, wash soft, change that to just be water, and I'm actually kind of painting with water now, and I'm spreading that out a little bit more. Cool, cool. Continue. Favorite that brush, why not? All right, you get the idea. Let's move on, shall we? There we are. That's what I want. Bring it to life a little bit. That looks fun. Let's have some more fun with this. You ready? Let's move on. All right. Let's take a look at roots. The roots. The roots. Guess what? Boom, boom. Let's get creative. Let's think creatively about this, right? Let's fill this in. Let's fill in these inner parts of these letters, and let's create a new layer and use just a simple brush. In fact, you know what? I'm going to use a dry media brush. I'll start with this, Conti crayon. Change that to white. Take down the size to see how this looks. Because now what I want to do is I'm actually creating the roots in here. So right here, just press kind of hard, but I want that gritty look, like it's in dirt, right? And I'm making sure that smoothing is all the way down because I want that rough look. Just like so. Robzilla's in the house. Guess what? We're going to animate this later on. We're going to animate this. So Nor, I'm doing fantastic. How's everybody else doing? Thicker right up here, so I'm pressing a little bit harder, a little lighter. Further down we go. Try to make this look like it's somewhat... So roots get like really thin down there, and they start stretching out a lot. But there is a point where they kind of branch out. All right, you get the idea. Thick. Try to make it look connected. There we are. Let me fix this. My computer's trying to kick me out. All right, you ready for this? I'm going to make it look like there's dirt in here in a second. So let's just do this last one. Taking this down a little bit more. Another one of my favorite brushes. Let's go in here. We have a spatter brush, right? That is very obviously sparse, as the name suggests. And basically I can use a spatter brush right in here if I want to, just to make it look a little bit more like gritty. All right, so that's all we're doing. A little spatter brush right in there. You get the idea. I would say this is done. I want to move on if I can. I'm going to show you so many things, right? So this is done. I'm going to move on, right? We got it. You guys happy? People have been panic buying for the whole week, though. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Which is why I have so many cans of soup. I did see something very smart. I can't remember where the restaurant was, but any delivery order that they would get came with a free roll of toilet paper. That was their marketing scheme, and it blew up. It did so well. Each order you got a free roll of toilet paper. Isn't that awesome? All right, so this is the concept, at least, from good old Fresco, iPad. We can see a number of those others. Let's kind of move on from that. Let's shift gears. That's done. In fact, you can see that little sync icon. That's being synced to my... it's a cloud document, so it's getting synced to my desktop and everywhere, by the way, just so you know. Go into good old Photoshop. Earlier version, file, open. Ooh, let's check this out. This is another thing I did as well. Here's an earlier version file. All right, it's opening now. All right, there we are. Right? Easy enough. Here's Michelle, I don't know if that's good marketing for your food. Yeah, that is funny. Here's some toilet paper because you're going to need it after ordering our food. So now we have this version, right? We have this version, which doesn't have any color. The only difference is like this part right here. Just kind of taking a chunk out of it. And then the version we just made. If I could turn it on somehow. This version. Let's group that. Let's get a little crazy. New version. Not really that crazy, but... I'm just going to do some designing here in Illustrator, right? Gonna do something similar, but we're gonna do the Illustrator Photoshop version. Boom, boom. I'm gonna try to move as fast as possible. Right? Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Get that up like so. There we have that, right? Let's actually turn on all these different versions that I've tried out, right? This one's pretty cool. Look at this one. This is nice. And let me show you if we just hide our boards. There we are. Check it out. Ooh, you guys talking web design now? That's probably everybody's bread and butter back in the day, right? So check this out. Here's a number of versions that I was playing with. Let's forget this. That one was lame. We have all these other ones that we can kind of consider. Ooh, really like this one that I was working on. Look at that. These are just type lockups. That's all they are. I think these. Let's get rid of this one. We know this one's not that good. It's okay. I don't know if anyone is bad, anyone is wrong, but there obviously are some that are better than others. Right? I don't know. What do you guys think? So my whole goal with this phrase is like when you type this out, every word has equal weight, right? They're all the same size. So your goal with design is that you need to emphasize the words that need to be emphasized, right? It's all about trees and roots, right? We could also throw storm in there, right? But these just seem to be really strong. So storms make trees take deeper roots. I think I'm gonna go with something like this, or maybe this one, but I could take this, copy it, bring it into Photoshop. Wait for it. I might have just a blank file. There it is. Something like that. Pasting it in here, I have this text. So let's do something fun. Are you ready for this? I'm gonna need everybody's attention here, okay? So actually, I'm gonna double click on this. Just open up this smart object. Opens it back up in Illustrator. I'm gonna move this up ever so slightly. Zoop. Give it a little more room. Saving it. Right, you know how that works. This is the part I want you to pay attention to, because what I want to do is I want to do something similar in Photoshop, right? So I could go in and use brushes to paint in some of those, various branches and leaves and all that stuff, right? We get it. I can use some of these brushes. Here's a fall color. I got a foliage brush, right? You know how all these work. We could do the same thing in Photoshop, right? You guys know how that works. Boom, boom, you get the idea, right? We could do that. That's not bad. I'm gonna actually do you one better, cause I can, right? You guys kind of already know how this works, right? This is pretty expected, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and hide that. I'm gonna create a new layer. And really what I wanna do is I wanna turn this like T into a tree, right? It's pretty obvious, right? I'm gonna do this by using what we got in here. We go to filter, we'll go to render, using this, I don't know, I think it's little known. It's one of those things that like, once you know it's in there, you're like, okay, I'm gonna put this in the back of my brain because this will come in handy, right? So again, this is under render. We wanna render out a tree of our liking, right? So right in here, this is what we have. Typically defaults to the top one, which is our oak tree. We see that's beautiful, right? We can say, hey, that's too many leaves. We can scale that down some, right? Give it less leaves. But really the whole tree is pretty large. Maybe I need to change this to, I don't know, bamboo, right? There's a fun bamboo tree. But if you just kind of take a look at this and all these controls, they're all very self-explanatory. You want to change the light direction to highlight it, you get it, right? You don't really need me to kind of go through every single one of these. I am going to kind of jump down to a young Robina. I really like this tree because this is like more like traditional tree, right? I can thin up the leaves a little bit, something like that, right? And I can also control the leaf size, but I'm just click OK, boom, boom. So this is what you'd probably do. You come in here like, okay, perfect. I have my tree. It is made. I didn't have to do a thing. I can drop that right there. And it's actually kind of covering up the T. And what you're reading is you're reading Re's. Even I put it over here, like it needs to conform. Oh, did Cloudy just talk about this? But the thing is, this tree needs to conform to my text, right? So rather than just doing or adding a standard tree, which is what you think it does at first glance, we want to come in, use the good old pen tool right here, as you can see it. I'll just kind of go up starting down here. We'll go up to here, and we'll just go out one side. So I just created this simple path is what I did. Okay, so we can see it's a path right up here, by the way, just to show you. It's set to path at the top, so just keep that in mind. I can see that it's a path because I'll go over to the side, right? Path panel, there it is. There's my path for my T, right? T, boom, right? With that selected, we'll go to filter, we'll go to render tree. We have our tree right here, which is so unassuming. I'm going to take down the branch thickness. And I'm going to take down the leaves. And you can kind of see, actually, I'm going to show you a better example. Because these branches for this one is kind of getting in the way. Let me actually change this to this type of tree. You can see it's actually following that path by bending at the top. So I'm going to pick another one that's going to show you like even more clearly, right? So that's what I'm going to do right now. Let's select that one. This is the one I will use just for right now. Boom, there it is, right? It conforms to that shape. It gets more interesting if I do the R, so that's what we're going to do next. Come over here. P for pen, boom, boom, round this out, zoop, like that, going up, around this curve, up to the top, right there, okay? Select that path. We can always go into my paths. New path. Hopefully it did it. Did it freaking... I had that other layer selected. That was my problem. Let's get out of here. Let's actually... I don't even want... There we go. I had that other path selected, so I apologize. I'll do that one more time. I want them to basically be different. I want one tree per letter, and we're only going that far. With that done, we'll select this. There's my path. We can call it R. I can do the procedural thing on it right now. That's what I'd call this, like a procedural tree. But we can see it's conforming to that R right there. Okay, click OK. We can see what it's doing now. Everybody's got it? You got it? Because there will be a test later. It's called your career, right? Let's do this a couple more times. This one, I actually might bend this one a little bit because I think it's going to be a little more interesting instead of just being straight if it had a little bit of a curve. Keep in mind, challenge review deadline is in 31 minutes. Thank you. Oh, Val, we're on the same page. So we go, got that. Make this E. Guess what? I don't even need to go back in there each time because I've already dialed in my tree the way it needs to be. Boom, boom, there it is. E, done. I don't want my other E to be exactly the same. So that's why I would do this a little bit different because the second one might go boom, boom, curve it this way, and then maybe something like that. I don't know. Let's do that. All right. I really like this. Oh, that's very nice of you to say. I really like it as well. And I like that you're here. That's the important thing. You guys are here with me. We're all hanging out. We're learning. We're trying to figure out what looks and works best for us. This will be E2. Last one we're going to do is S. Again, just a little bit of setup, right? I'm trying to put everything on layers. I usually have my own separate path, my own separate layer for each letter, because it's going to give me a lot of control. These, again, look very, especially these two, those look similar, right? I probably need to kind of go in and fix that a little bit more. So let's do the S, bend it. Oh yeah, the S is going to be super fun, right? And we want to customize everything this does, right? So there it is. We could always jump in, use our direct selection, and do something like that. Selecting all of that. There's my path. There's my S. We're going to go back into render tree. We want to have consistency with the tree, but we kind of need to change. I think we do need to kind of change some branch height, right? Love it. This is what I should have been playing with earlier. Love this. Love this. Love this so much, right? This is what I want. Branch height. Does it perfect. Click OK. There it is. Brought some of these branches down here, which is awesome, right? Let's take this. Let's take this E, turn that off. New layer, filter, render, tree. Checking out this fun one. Branch height, taking it down further because I want those two E's to be different, right? I could have more or less leaves. And what do you think? That's fun too. Ooh, I like this one. Maybe I'm going to go this direction. Click OK. Done. Right? Done. We got it. We're done. Okay. Okay, so let's think about this, though. You ready for this? I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. This is just a thought I had, by the way. So I kind of really need to clean this up a lot. Storms make trees take deeper roots. Let's think about this. Okay, so you ready for this, Michelle? I'm going to just throw everything. Here are all my trees. Let's get rid of this one. Command G. Trees. Now what we're going to work on? Something else. Okay, so I'll actually just turn that off. And I'm just going to make a nice path, right? It's going to go ba, 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 ba. Maybe have some wonky curves, something like that. There's my path, right? New path. Selecting it, right? We'll go into filter. Back to where we were. And in this case, leaves. Get rid of the leaves. Right? Taking both those down to 0. I could play with the branch height, but that looks pretty good. Branch thickness. Oh, by the way, I could have changed the type of leaf in there as well. But yeah, we'll just go with that. I'm actually trying to get rid of the leaves altogether. Just don't need any of that stuff. This is what I want to do. Flat shading for the leaves, flat shading for the branches. I don't want any color in here. I really need to get rid of, honestly. Let's just try this really fast. Let's just change this to a different tree. Work with me here. What I'm doing right now is I'm flipping this upside down and I'm making roots. This is the one I want, this bamboo, right? Seems pretty thin, but let's make these a little bit thicker. It's a little wonky right there, and we'll go with it. So just use bamboo, click OK, done, right? There's my invert, rotate. Come on, get out of there. Oh, let's get rid of you. I'm trying to hurry. I don't know why. This really isn't for a client. Why? Why am I Why am I hurrying? Why am I getting all stressed out? Let's move this over. I just want to make another one real fast. Oh yeah, take that down. Take it down. Click OK. There we are. There's another one. Cool. All right. Wait for it. Invert. Hue. Lighten it up. Same thing for this one. Lighten it up. I just quickly tried to make some roots basically that same way. So flipping that around, now we have our roots, right? So for these roots, taking that down there, taking this one down here, right? Just doing something fun like that, okay? Cool. You get the idea. Cool thing is we can start to connect these. So roots. Roots. Herbert Henderson's in the house. Herbert, what's up, buddy? This is refreshing. Your 11th day at home. Wow, that is that's some time, my friend. That is some time. So the question is, I don't think I really need to connect these. I think I should probably come up here, add a layer, B for brush, flipping that. Right click, let's make this, excuse me, right click, reset tool. Don't mind me, just doing a little brush magic. Just blending those in, just painting that black right there. So, there we go. Cool, cool. Convert to smart object, convert to smart object. So much to show. Ah, right? Oh. Let's get rid of all those. Command T, flip, horizontal. Make these look a little bit different. Let me know what you think. What advice you might have or your thoughts. I'm trying to figure out how these should kind of come into play. Like the angle. I was going to put each one in that sort of middle part of the layer. As you can see, it's going to be in our counter, so I'm going to just play with the counters is what I was doing. Just trying to see if this works. Let's flip it again. There we are. Maybe like that. Okay, cool. All right, done. That works for me. Good enough for what they're paying me for. Can you warp them? Claire, that's a great idea. Thank you so much, because I was flipping them. Basically, these two are almost the same. I'm not crazy about it, and you noticed that, so good eye. I'm into it. In fact, that's why I even made Puppet Warp a shortcut. I use Puppet Warp a lot. Allows me to put pins in, boom, boom, add some pins, right? Let's kind of stretch that out. Let's make sure this is still connected to the top right there and kind of pull that down like that. Maybe put a pin there, right? And we can kind of quickly change, obviously, the direction of that. So that's a great idea. And this is really cool. It kind of actually made it look a little bit more organic. So I'm going to do this a couple more times with some of these others, right? Because bending it kind of gave it more of like an organic look, which I was, ooh, geez, really into. Bend, right? Just those fun bends makes it look just a little bit more organic. like that. Cool. Good thinking. The shape I originally drew had that weird angle, so that's kind of the problem right there. But it's not really a problem. It's fine. Smoothing angles that occurs from looking like lightning. Exactly. Oh, by the way, you mentioned lightning. Yeah. You just touched upon something that is pretty important. Again, if I would have drawn the whole curve a little more smooth, it'd probably look a little better, right? But I think this works. I think this is totally fine. I'm actually open to your guys' opinion because you guys are awesome. Just been really good at helping me with this whole concept. I think things get a little fuzzy up here. There's almost too many branches. I could consider maybe turning off some of those. Like, do both my trees need trees, if you will? Right? There's still like a lot of branches. Do I do more? Do I do less? You get the idea. But I think this is a pretty cool concept. Let's save it. Let's talk about just the whole idea of like, you know, maybe animating this, if that works for you. Shall we do it? Shall we animate this? We have, 19 minutes. Yeah, that's right. Love it. All right. So again, this kind of came from, okay, let's save this file. Got a lot going on. From this is your hand lettering version. And then you have this more tightly created version, right? And I don't know, personal preference. How do you decide the artwork if the artwork's done? That's a great question. I would like to. Was it Anton de Saint-Exupéry? And I'm probably not saying that right. And I probably might have the. He was a writer. I don't know who says this, or was it? Gosh, I'm drawing a blank on what artist said this. But basically, it's done not when there's no more to add, but when there's no more to take away. So notice how I added a lot to these trees. I added lots of roots, and then I'm like, you know what? Let's go into the editing phase. And I think that's a really important process, going through, editing it down, and getting that down to that very potent, like, core concept, right? Getting to the root, if you will, of your concept and showing that, right? Let's add roots beneath the root text. Oh, yeah. That's freaking genius. Stop it, Vineet. You're killing me. That's such a great idea. That's another design. Yeah, it's from is that from The Little Prince? Thank you, Antoine de Saint. So I was right. But I probably totally butchered his name, and I apologize. Yeah. Let's close that one. I'm having so much fun with all this, by the way. It's so much fun. And I'm glad you guys are hanging out with me. And I love that idea. So typically save that, right? We have this. Let's just take all that stuff. Command G. Command J. Boom, boom. Just made design 1, design 2. There we are. Second design. Let's see how fast I can get this done. Let's rasterize this layer. Why not? Yeah, I rasterized it. Let's take a brush. Let's take a brush that has a lot of like crazy corrosion. Oh yeah, that's... Let's try this brush. Right? So just take this away a little bit. Using this, I don't even know, was it a bubble brush? Which one was it? Cork bubbles is what I think it actually is. But let's take this flow down. This may or may not work, by the way. I'm introducing, what I'm doing now is I'm actually introducing, yeah, I don't know if that really looks like dirt. Oops. Okay. Yeah, this still needs a little bit more work. Let's paint this back in. There we go. It's almost illegible. Grabbing these roots. Let's move these roots down. Let's invert their color. How we'll do that? You know what? Let's just overlay. Color overlay of black. Like that. Holding down right over here. This is where I'm working. Holding down the Option key, dragging that to the next one, dragging that to the next one. Right? Just by holding down the Option key. Now we have all of these. Bring that down. Make sure that one's down there. Make sure this one's down here. And probably scaling them all up. Cool. All right. Done. Too much white. Yeah, you're right. It's a little bit of a delay in the chat, so I know it's a little bit behind. But here's another way to do this, by the way. So I could actually group all of these. Notice how I put this effect, this black, on all three. I didn't really need to do that. I could actually put them all in a layer group and then apply it to that group, right? Okay, but that's pretty good. That's done. I'm not going to tweak it to death. I want to try a new concept, by the way, because I have 13 minutes before we review your designs. So check out that info. By the info tab, there's the challenge tab, and it is all about create a funny face mashup. And we will showcase those here shortly. So concept number, I don't know, 2 or 3 is done. Let's go in here. Let's add some more. Wait for it. Move that up. Flip it. Move it. Do all the things to it. Shift key. Right click. Flip horizontal. Right. Just making more roots. All right. Love it. Let's take a new concept. The whole idea of, and I'll actually jump in here, doing something kind of like this. So disregard this version. Let's dive into this, shall we? Let's use After Effects. Is that okay? Is this okay? Is this okay with you guys? Is this too much? I don't know if this is too much. This is labeled hand lettering using Fresco, and it also has Illustrator and Photoshop in the description, and now we're like in After Effects. But I looked at that and I looked at those roots. The whole idea of these roots, I was like, you know what? These roots need to grow. So that's where that came from. Like, let's have these grow. That's the idea. Yep, cool. You turn roots around, trees become roots. Okay, so if that's okay with you, we'll just do 1920 by 1080. We're in After Effects. I do apologize if I am. Is that okay? Be too much, Paul. Oh, you want me to be too much? Okay, cool. I already forgot the quote. What is it? Storms make like that. There we are. Typing. I actually used Neptunus is the font because we want this rough looking font like hand lettering, like this. Like we talked about earlier, I could take my text that I hand lettered right over here and I can turn this into a font, but there's already fonts out there like this, so I'm just using one that's already pre-made. So I apologize that that's not original, but we're just using Neptunus. Storms make. Stretch this out. Zoop. Duplicate. Trees. Is that right? I'm already forgetting. Storms make trees take deeper roots. There we go. Okay, so have this all laid out. I just duplicated these layers, right? Pretty straightforward. I can select these two just like I do in Photoshop to scale them up, right? We'll just kind of play with this layout a little bit. Let's do, I don't know, this is probably gonna need a little bit of work, kind of like that. We'll just do something like this, right? So Catherine and McDonald, you should download After Effects if you have the capability. And let me move my head over. Let's move me over. Got my big head in the way. There we go. Challenge deadline coming up. Let's check in with everyone. Do you ever have a good hair day and you're like working from home? Which is a total bummer. It's like, man, I'm having such a good hair day and I don't know anybody to show this to. All right, so here we are. We'll go to layer, new, solid, right? So we're just creating a new layer is all we're doing. We're going to make it black, just like that. Then, as was mentioned in chat, we'll go over here to effects and presets, and we can try to type in tree. There's no tree, but there is lightening. And there's let's just do advanced, because I know how to spell that. There's advanced lightning in here, right? So lightning, as somebody mentioned, looks a lot like roots. Okay.
Like is usually defined as a similar kind or, alternatively, a kind of person. As a verb, like can mean prefer or wish to do something. As an adjective, like can mean resembling or similar, having the same or some of the same characteristics, often used in combination.
Why you gotta do me like that? Huh? I'm not even gonna say her name because then she'll start talking again. That's messed up. Oh, man. Trying to help, and this is what happens. All right, so we have glow settings. You can see that glow, right? That's the biggest problem, is that glow right there. We can take a look at the core settings, all these different opportunities. What do we want? We want to change the core color. So boom, we'll change that to black. Change that core color to black. Guess what? We don't even want any glow. So taking that opacity down to 0. So it's already starting to resemble a root, as you can see. We can kind of play with the turbulence if we want to. I'm going to get into decay, forking, right? We have forking and decay. Turbulence is going to be one that I'm going to play with just to make these all different. But let's take a look at the forking. We can expand that. We can see that this is already looking like roots, even less than lightning, right? And then we have our decay, which is like its fall off. Do we want it to go clear to the depths of the earth in this case, or do we want it to kind of trail off a little bit, right? Let's kind of... sorry about that. Let's take a look. All right. No. All right, you guys are hilarious. Okay, so... let's take a look at these. First off, I'm using this panel. So if you're not familiar with After Effects, I just define an origin point and then the direction it goes. So that's what I did initially while my audio assistant was so rudely interrupting me, right? We could take a look at the core radius. You know, again, crank that up. You could see how it makes it thicker behind my head, like so. Okay, but I'm just going to kind of dial in some settings. The conductivity state, right? How conductive it is. We will just change that to 7. Let's do core radius, maybe more like 8. Let's bring that up some. Core opacity, right? We'll crank that up too, right? We're going to have that 100% opaque. Glow radius doesn't exist in our world. Get out of here, glow radius. And then we can get into the forking. Forking, we can crank up. Decay is what we're going to play with. It's going to be so much fun, right? That's what we're going to be working with. Core drain. Let's get into expert settings. Core drain. So let's take a look at this right here. This is the core. this is it sort of draining. So I want to take this, and this is kind of the only expert setting that we really need to worry about. This is how it kind of drains out. So we're just going to have it go right there, kind of something like that. So that's kind of sort of the extent I want it to go. Remember, moving it over, I can have this drop down to be the bottom right there. I can make sure this opacity is all the way to 100%, and it was not, right? But that looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty good overall. Just keeping this simple. With this done, I'm going to twirl this down. Because what do I want to animate? I want to animate two properties. I'm going to animate the decay, right? So I can click right here if I want to. Bam. And I can animate the core drain. Bam, right? Typically what happens, I'm going to hit U. You will open up all the keyframes that you've added, right? So again, sorry that this feels a little complex, but trust me, I just added this decay and then the core drain. Those are the two properties that I've added. A lot of times when it comes to animating, you're making the final frame, so we want to drag this down 5 seconds in. This is the final frame. That's where it's going to be. Now when I scrub to the front, the beginning, I can play with these numbers. I can play with them here. I can play with them up at the top. I'll just jump in, and again, decay, take that down. Core drain, taking that down as well. And I feel like there's one other property I need to play with. But either way, I'm just going to have that like start right there. So there's a hint of it going on like so, okay? With that done, if I click the space bar, we'll see this slowly grow. Okay, see those roots slowly grow? When we come down here, we can play with this some more. Again, we're dealing with the decay and the core drain. Increasing that, that looks like more like roots. I could flip that upside down. I can move this around all I want 3 minutes before the challenge deadline. But that's what I have. It's going to start out slow because that's how lightning works, I guess, right? And then we see a lot of it come in toward the end. So to adjust that, what you can do is you can come down here and we want to go into our graph editor. Clicking right there, and we can see what happens. It's just doing a gradual, but a lot happens this last little bit. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on here. I'm going to change this to easy ease out. So it's going to slow down right there. But I'm going to go into the graph editor, select this. Come on now, graph editor. I'm going to do an easy ease. So let's get rid of that. Easy ease. I like to think of it as like an easy E. It sounds too much like easy E. All right, so what I can do is, maybe I won't get to the graph editor yet. What I can do is I can come in here. Maybe I will play with it a little bit. Bringing this out like that. So if I stretch this out, it's gonna reach that final state sooner, right? It just allows me to tweak how much this grows. Like that, okay? Cool thing is I could take this at any time. I can kind of move it down here. It could be right here, and that could be sort of part of the roots, because I noticed, you know what, maybe it will be better down there. And let's take all of these, in fact, move them up a little bit so it has a place to go. Except for this one. I accidentally need to do that, like that. Cool. All right. I still got 1 minute. Let's go back in here. Move that up, get rid of that, hit play, you can see it grow. I'm going to do this again. We need a couple more of those. Command D, boom, composite onto original. That's what I need to do. I just duplicated this first advanced lighting and made a second one, advanced lightning. I do need to composite onto the original. So there's 2 of them, right? Now I can move this one over, right? Put it right here and make sure it goes down accordingly. I got some AE scripts. Maybe you can scale it from 0 first. I think I have that. I think I have this all squared away, right? Again, I would want to change these properties. This is the #1 shortcut. And for those who know After Effects, tell me your favorite one. I think there's like 2 of them, but mainly you. being able to hit you will actually expand out all your effects that have keyframes on them. So as soon as you add those keyframes, all you need to do is hit U, boop, it opens up and like, oh, easy access. Because otherwise what I have to do is I have to twirl down into effects, into advanced lighting, scrolling down, and you're just lost forever, right? But I think that makes it really easy. Another thing you can do, aside from hitting U, is hit the tilde key. And as things do get more complex in here, you just have more room to work. Again, as you kind of twirl these down, you can see how advanced everything gets, but you get the idea. Okay. What was I doing? Killing time. That's what I was doing there. How about that? Not really. But wanted you guys to get your challenges in at the last minute, since we're going to dive into that. And yeah, we're going to get into the challenges, and we're going to review those like it says. Yeah, tilde key. It's a little squiggly line. Yeah, let's do that right now. In fact, you know what? I'm going to launch it right now. You can see how I launch this. Maybe I'll switch over really fast just so you can see my cool shirt. This is hand lettering. Guess what? We fell off the deep end, and I hope that's okay. Yeah, we fell off the deep end because now we're animating. But it's all about, I think, creativity comes from whatever sparks your imagination to kind of create what you want. Did you create these designs? I was doing hand lettering. I'm like, oh, it'd be really cool if we had roots come down. Oh, it'd be really cool if they grow. So it's like, it gets cooler and cooler. Plus, we know video engagement. I've already talked about that. But video engagement is so much higher than still image engagement. And yeah, that is the plan. So let's go ahead and hide all this stuff and focus on the latest challenge, which I have up right now. Switching over, here we are. Here we are. All right, so can I do more After Effects in the future? Yeah, I'll do in the immediate future, depending on how many of these designs we have to review. Okay, so happy to do that. This is going to be really fun. So just so you know, this was all about sort of mashing up faces. Technically, the challenge is to create a funny face mashup using the auto blend layers. He gives you a starter file that you'll see recurring. And it's just this woman's face where she kind of has her two hands on her face, which is something you shouldn't do. Don't touch your face as well, right? All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's switch over. Submitted to the Discord channel, which is what I'm reviewing right now. And let's get this party started. All right. Ooh, this is fun. So it was all about content-aware fill, like removal. So that's what was happening here. That could have been reviewed. Well, geez, that came in at 9:49 today. I'm going to start at the very bottom, and then we'll move our way up. All right. Starting with Elstrex. Added nose, eyes, and glasses. Had some trouble with perspective. And legs of glasses. The lenses of the glasses? I don't know. The arms? All right, so let's take a look at this. New nose. I love it. But really good job done here. Yeah, good job matching it. I think the color goes well. It's a little bright. I'd probably take that brightness down a little bit. Yeah, I think it looks great. I don't have any problem with this. I think it looks awesome. So, fantastic. That's great. Love it. Loving it all. How you guys doing? Okay, so there's this one. Looks great. Here's another one. Christina Lopez. Content-aware fill. I think she was filling in some power lines up at the top. Either way, this looks fantastic. Guess what? This is I don't even know where this is taken, but this is probably a photo that was taken yesterday in some town square. Because guess what? Everybody's staying home. So this is like, we don't have to worry about crowd removal using content-aware fill these days. Because you should be in your house. again, one, this is from CC. This is the original, as you can see. Ooh, I think that's the original. Here's one where some work is done. You could see how hard this gets. Even if you look at Jesus's, it's a tough call, right? But what the auto blend does is usually matches the tone, the lighting, and usually the position of a specific of the photo that you're referencing. Great job. Oh, you guys are killing me. Here's another one. Okay, so this is the original. And then here's the after. This is like nightmare fuel in some cases. I'm scared. The important thing is that you're actually just kind of diving in and doing some stuff, right? Zoop. Flew across the screen. Eyes are a little bright, nose is a little dark. We could always push those back some. And work on the lighting, like the lighting direction. Because in my opinion, I don't know where the lighting direction is coming from. Is it coming from the left or the right? Because it looks like it's coming from the left on the nose, but over here it looks like it's coming on the right. So either way, super fun. Oh, this is all too much fun. Annie, boom. I'm happy. I'm into it. Jackknife, stiletto. Can we just headbang to what this would actually sound like? Jackknife, stiletto. Is that not a cool name? It'd be like that. I don't have long enough hair, but that's what I do. Loving it. This design, awesome. One thing you can consider doing, just a thought, I love playing with depth. First of all, I don't know if I do it with this J. You might have to move it over a little bit, but if part of that J went behind her head, would look really cool. Part of this F went behind her guitar, just to create a little bit of depth, would just be really awesome, right? So that would be my thought. Either way, it's this photo that makes it. Did a great job. Annie, into it. Here's the original. Rock on. Yeah, they'll melt your face off, jackknife stiletto. Look out. They will melt your face. You listen to them. Challenge 5, before, after. It was probably a color one. Santiago. This is a tough one because what you're doing is you're taking a perfect photo and you're messing with her. Like you're totally distorting her. So this is a tough call, but it's working because in this situation, I can't tell what was swapped out. I think these are different eyes, but this is totally working. Is that Mapex? I don't know what you're talking about, though, Alberto. I don't know who Mapex is. Is that like another, just another band? Like, this is awesome, though. Good job. That's gonna stick with me. I think it's great. Before and after. A little haziness. I don't know what's going on here. It's like content-aware fill. Oh, I see what's happening. Here's the before with some of these stumps in here, and then here's the after. I don't know why this haziness was added. I'd get rid of that haziness. Because it looks like you smudged your lens, but that's just me. Otherwise, man, good job using content aware. Content aware is all about saying the right thing at the right time in social situations. Just be content aware in your whole life. Not only with your photos, with people around you, right? Social distancing, aware of content. Don't touch your face. I think I just touched my nose. All right, so that's it. A couple others right in here. Kiefer, creative, touched my face again. Gotta stop that. Remove the pedestrians in the background. Ah, perfect photo to do this with. Right, they're right there. It's like, come on, guys, you're killing the mood. Boom. They're gone. Guess what? We'll take you to the next level. and tint the photo a sepia tone. I would actually add some grain on top. Perfect. Mapex is a drum set band. Just drums, huh? Is that it? Look at this. Loving it. I've gone a little too deep. I'm going to stop right now. Cool stuff, though. Arbutina did a great job right here, replacing the sky. This is looking a little fakey. It's looking a little fake. So if you have the sky that's this color, everything should should give it like a pinkish, reddish, orange, like an orange tint, right? And keep in mind, like, sunrises and sunsets are not the same thing. They're not actually using the same color palette either. This is a sunset. Either way, you got to tint everything down. I would definitely tint this more the sky color. But the cool thing is like, there's some color matching you could do in Photoshop. I'm loving this. This is awesome. I think this is reversed, though. This is looking fantastic. The problem is this shadow should be reversed, right? Because if the light's coming from over here, I don't know. Like, this is a tough one. I feel like that shadow should be like, it should be reversed and use Puppet Warp to distort this shadow. Because I think the shadows is off, right? If we're taking a cue from this, it's coming from this direction. Consider this an arrow. So this foot should be higher than this foot. Should be an arrow this way. Should just be an arrow. So I think the shadow actually, in my opinion, needs to be flipped. Because again, think about if you're a camera, you're on this side, that's what you're projecting down here. So otherwise, you did a great job. Jody did a fantastic job with your Hoop Dreams photo. Cool, 12-12. Not to get off the rails too much, but I did just kind of want to jump through the schedule really fast as I take a drink of coffee. All right. Okay, so Felipe, you said more blurred and faded. I would say that too, but you know what? The hoop is not. So just so you know, we have Andrea up next, XD Daily Creative Challenge, and then we have Howard Pinsky. So that's what's happening, 11:30, which is in about 15 minutes. So that's what I have left, about 13 minutes left. So I just had to share that schedule with you. So again, right in here, these also aren't the same darkness or lightness. So these need to be matched as well. So yeah, just needs to be a different angle. Otherwise, honestly, that's super small detail that I'm looking at. Everything else is fantastic. I'll give you guys some time to. Are these floating in midair? Oh, okay, so this is funny. For this version, it's like, yeah, you want to remove the power lines, which is all about the content-aware fill. But then it's like, okay, these were once lamps are now like flying UFO things, right? So you just suspended reality by suspending each one of these little like lights or baskets or whatever. Okay, Ashi, appreciate you too. Boom, boom. All right, let me get back to my lightning. Didn't come out as cool as I thought it would. Honestly, I think this is really cool. It is really cool, by the way. This is really cool. Like the colors, the composition is good. It's a good composition. It's not like everything doesn't need to be centered. Yeah, it's awesome. I don't know if you're meaning for this dove to be epic, but in general, I think it's cool. All right. I got him in. If I didn't review it, it will be reviewed by Howard. He will proudly review. Actually, will he? No, he's in reviewing Andrea's stuff, I think. So let me just do this one more. Here are my day 5 and 6 challenges. Removed the power lines. This looks fantastic. A+ work. Boom. Right? Let's take a look at this. Perfect. Yes. I don't know. This is all very disturbing to me. She reminds me of The Professional. Remember that movie with Natalie Portman when she was a little girl? But that's what it looks like. It looks like a cross between the movie The Professional, The Hitman, and Natalie Portman. That's what this looks like. It's a mix-up of those two. A little mashup, and that was the whole goal, is to make it a mashup, which is awesome. So hopefully you had fun with that. Love the floating lights. Dana loves the floating. Fantastic, Dana. I'm glad you like him. The basketball shot is definitely like one of my favorites. So yes, the floating baskets, the basketball ones were awesome. Thank you, Catherine. The face mash is getting a little bit disturbing, shall we say. All right. Let's finish this before my boss comes in here and yells at me. Hey, Paul, you done with that design yet? Are you done? Oh, I'm working on it. Command D. We'll duplicate this. Shoop. Move that there. Guess what? This one. Shoop. Move it over here. I'm working on it, boss. I'm trying to get it done in time. I just got a couple more letters to do. I know you didn't want it animated. I made it animated anyways because I think it's the way to go. Moving that over like that. We want these each to be different. We'll do one more. Why not? Bam. Zoop. Like so. And there we have it. So let's take one of these. Let's take this, one of the O's. Let's take this O right here. I'm going to try to make this larger. Right? Let's get in on that action. There we go. The roots. The root. The root is on fire. Because it's actually lightning. Forking. There's my forking process. Now, just want to also point out the properties that I've animated, just so you know, if you're curious to what they are out of all this junk, right? So much going on, are these that are highlighted. Notice how this is a little lighter. It says, hey, you know what? This is one of your animated properties. So while you're trying to make everything look different, Paul, keep in mind that this is the animated one and this one's going to change over time, right? So that being said, that's actually what I wasn't playing with. I was actually playing with the forking right in here. So I can play with the forking of this one. A little bit of the decay. Complexity. Oh, let's take that back. This is typically how I work, in case you're curious, is I just scrub through these different options and you try to make sense of it. I know which ones to animate and the rest to just control the look, the decoration, like, you know. Yep, the roots. Cool. Got that one a little bit different. Let's go ahead and hit play. So they're all kind of growing at the same speed. We would want to vary this. So, magic key, U. Expand that out. My head's still in the way. Sorry about that. There we go. So, I would take all these effects. I know this happens ROOTS. Take each one of these and just start to toggle them, moving each one down a little bit, like so. And I could play with the timing, because right now they're almost like too consistent, just too predictable, right? So we want to stretch out some. Some will go slower, some will go faster, some will take longer, right? Some of them will grow longer, but each one is going to be different, right? So that's what we want to do. I can even kind of come to this one. Let's take our O or maybe our T that we were working on. Change its decay even more. In like that. And then the core drain is already at 100%. Let's actually move this up as well. All right. Okay, I'm gonna grab all of these. Here's another tip, if I can remember. Isn't it the... I'm gonna have to think about this. The... No. No. So I want to take these... I don't know, kind of want to take these down a little bit. I want to speed all of these up is what I've just decided. All of these need to go faster. Growing, 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 growing. Cool. Okay. Yeah, change a bit of the directions. Great idea. Great idea. I probably changed it a little bit too much, but this one, I want it to be a little balanced. I need to move down this whole thing so it goes clear to the edge. Let's take the T. Let's move this one up. So it's kind of coming from the inside there. Do something like that. All right. There we have it. Let's lock that down. Let's play with this a little bit more. This layout. Hit Command K, because what I want to do is I want to post this to... I actually want to post this to Instagram. So if I want to post this to Instagram, it needs to be 1080 by 1350 is the largest it can be. Right? So let's take this, move this down. Well, let's unlock it first. All right. Let's bring it up. Running out of time, down to the last couple minutes. The first one is right up here. There we go. All right, there we have it. Done. Saving it. I will render it out later, but you can obviously see what's happening. All right, that is it for me. Yeah, is it press? What do you mean press and hold? I know press and hold to move the keyframes. There is actually I can't remember the shortcut key to where you could select multiple keyframes and it will be more elastic, so it will sort of maintain its proportions. That's the stroke I was looking for earlier. But honestly, I realized it didn't matter because I only had 2 keyframes anyways, so silly me. So again, super fun. What did we do? We did so much, right? This is animated. We have this, of course, in Photoshop. We have our hand lettering here that we were playing with, right? This one we were doing in Photoshop. We have just a still image of that frame. Of course, wash your hands. It's what I'd love for you to do. Thank you so much, everybody. You've been truly a pleasure to work with. And obrigado. Obrigado. Is obrigado, isn't that like, what is that? Isn't that thank you? That is thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Munir. Paul Training is done with his training. Just so you know, we have Andrea up next. It's going to be fantastic. Continue those challenge submissions rolling in. We will review those. And yeah, schedule changes up tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a little bit of editorial design, which is going to be really fun. So we will actually dive into InDesign, and I'll probably animate. Just kidding. I'm not going to. But we're going to make some actual product design, so it's going to be really fun. I thank you, my friends. You really are the highlight of my day, and I want you to know that. So from my purple heart, as Afrosia shows, to yours, I thank you for hanging out with me. And Andrea's up next. Thanks so much, everybody. You're wonderful. Stay tuned for the next challenge we have going on. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good one.